COVID questions. Get your questions in via Twitter, hashtag COVID questions, or via our Sky News Your Say. Dr. Chris Moy joins us now, a GP and also the head of the South Australian AMA. Thanks very much for your time, Chris. First question I want to ask you on behalf of viewers is to do with avoiding going to the doctor. I'm worried about getting COVID-19 from someone else. How do I avoid going to the doctor if I still need to go?
Yeah, we really do need to get into the position where the people that don't need to come here to do face-to-face stuff don't come in, and that we reserve the practices for only clinics for only situations where you have to come in, like surgery, or like a cutting up of a lesion or lacerations or broken arms, that sort of stuff. We do have these things called telehealth items at the moment, so I would suggest checking with your practice, particularly if you're in an at-risk group like over 70 or of a chronic illness, or if you're already isolated, whether you can actually do something by telehealth. That's either by phone or by FaceTime or Skype or WhatsApp. And hopefully at the moment the AMA has been working really hard with the government, and they've been really great about it, about slowly freeing this up so that hopefully by next week we'll get to a situation where nobody that has to come in, that doesn't have to come in, doesn't have to come in, so they don't put themselves at risk, they don't put other patients at risk, and they don't put the doctors and nurses at risk, and then we only reserve the practices for the people that need to, because we've got to keep the health system going. So at the moment, just check with the practice if you're worried.
Right, so yeah, call first, and if you can, avoid going in. Another question about masks. I know you mentioned this the other day. One person asking about masks. They've seen a lot of thefts of masks overseas, both out of hospitals and GP offices. Is this an issue for Australia, and will it mean we run out of them?
Yeah, look, I mentioned the other day there was a real sore point amongst us that we don't have the mask. But look, there's a threefold problem. There is a supply issue, and we see the government come forward with as many masks as we can get. But there have been other problems. People using the wrong mask. They're using the super high protection mask when they should be using the low level mask. But I understand overseas that there's been major problems with major thefts of masks by, in hospitals, by families, sometimes by health workers as well. Now, I have heard anecdotal evidence of that in Australia, but we are very hopeful that, Australian doctors and nurses are far too professional for that, and that won't happen. But there is a message out there that these are really precious. They must be reserved for frontline staff, and they probably need to be kept under lock and key because they are that important, because we can't go into battle without them.
No, and I've seen sanitizer locked at some workplaces, so that's no surprise. This question is one a lot of people are asking. If you've had COVID-19, can you get it again, or can you go about your daily life after that knowing you won't get it and you won't pass it on to anyone else either?
Look, the experience of most viruses is that you are immune to whatever strain you've had. Look, my understanding is that you can't get it again, but there have been slight questions about that, but I think there is no evidence at this stage that you can catch it again.
None at this stage, all right. Always a caveat on how different ones behave. Just finally, given the scale of the crisis, this person wants to know, why not just rush a vaccination or treatment? Isn't a mistake or two better than what COVID-19 is doing right now to health and to the economy?
Oh, look, I understand the need for that, but there are several things that have to come into play. You have to make sure it works first, okay? The next thing is you actually have to make sure it's safe. Now, safety is if it's a minor safety risk, that's okay, but what if this vaccine or whatever treatment actually causes this mass problem with kidney failures or liver failures 3 or 4 years on, and then we have a whole group of another group with just as many people with liver and kidney failure, then we've created a crisis bigger than we had. The other thing is that it actually takes time to manufacture. So whether we have a vaccine or whether we have a treatment, it takes a long time to build up. So we have to be realistic about this and give people time. Now, I understand the authorities are going to balance risk versus benefit.
Yeah.